Now, Democratic Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi of Illinois, he's the top Democrat on the brand new bipartisan select committee on China. Congressman, thanks for joining us. So we're not dealing with a lone surveillance balloon here, according to U.S. officials. They say it's part of an extensive surveillance program. Can you confirm that? Is there evidence to prove that? And how might that change your committee's approach to this incident?
Well, we're actually receiving a classified briefing tomorrow morning about this program, so I'm not really in a position to confirm. But what we do know is that this was not a weather balloon. This was clearly a surveillance balloon. It was not small payload. It was maybe 2,000 pounds of payload. So far, the Pentagon has reported in published reports. So this is quite a bit of equipment.
So obviously the United States conducts surveillance all over the world on our adversaries, probably even on our allies. Is this different than what the United States government does?
Well, let me just put it this way. I think a brazen violation of someone's airspace is not a common occurrence. And certainly not days before they invite your Secretary of State to come and visit Beijing or your nation's capital. I think that this is one of those situations, Jake, where either one of two things are happening, and we're trying to figure out what's actually happening based on our latest intelligence. But either Chairman Xi and the higher echelon folks in the foreign ministry knew about what was going on with regard to this balloon, and still they decided to invite Secretary Blinken, which really questions the sincerity of their overtures and whether there's a substantive change in their policy, or within the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party, the left hand and the right hand didn't know what each other was doing. We just don't know the answers to that.
Speaking of not knowing, the fact that other balloons had previously crossed into U.S. airspace and were undetected at the time is concerning. Take a listen to the commander of U.S. Northern Command.
I will tell you that we did not detect those threats, and that's a domain awareness gap that we have to figure out. But I don't want to go into further detail.
Is your committee going to push for more details on this so-called awareness gap?
Yes, I think we're going to be asking a lot of searching questions. I think at this point we're trying to basically ask, how did this happen? When did we know this happened? Has this happened in the past, and how do we know it happened in the past? These are all the types of questions that we'll be asking at these classified briefings.
An elite team from the FBI is right now analyzing pieces of the wreckage. What intelligence are you hoping to learn from their analysis?
Gosh, this could be a gold mine of information in terms of assessing their intelligence capabilities. What types of cameras do they have? What types of listening devices do they have? How quickly can they transmit that information, and at what rate can they transmit it to their home ship or mothership or back to Beijing? These are important questions for us to know so that we can then invest appropriately in our own countermeasures as well as our own surveillance abilities.
So there are a lot of Republicans that we've talked to since last week who say very strongly that the Biden administration should not have allowed the balloon to travel all the way across the country from Montana and Idaho down through Kansas City, Missouri, and on to the Carolinas, that they should have shot it down way sooner over the Pacific, over Alaska. What's your response?
I think they should ask the Biden administration and the military leaders why they recommended this course of action. I think they're jumping to conclusions. You have to defer to the military leaders who have the best information about what's going on with that balloon. Just as an example, over the Aleutian Islands, the balloon could have been shot down. It would have been shot down over waters that are almost 2 miles deep, Jake. And these are rough waters. So recovering that payload would have been very, very difficult, whereas obviously now it's in waters that are 47 feet deep off South Carolina, which is much easier to recover. So that's the type of information where I would just respectfully submit to my Republican colleagues, wait, get the facts, and then make your conclusions after you hear from the military leaders.
Not to mention the more than 8,000 people that live on the Aleutian Islands. Does this incident hurt your efforts to work in a bipartisan way with the chairman of the committee, Mike Gallagher, and other Republicans?
I don't think so. I think that we have to refocus and just make sure that we uncover the facts, we lay them out for all of our committee members and the American people, and then we take steps to deal with those facts, with those challenges and threats. If we do that, I think that we will be true to our mission, but we can't engage in speculation or rhetoric that would be counterproductive.
All right, Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi from Illinois, thank you so much. Good to see you.